Alright, welcome back to the channel, y'all. If you've never been here before, just go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Click the bell next to the subscribe button so you are notified every time a new video goes up on BrainFLoTv. A lot's been going on behind the scenes in this YNW Melly jury selection period as we move into getting to the real trial to start, where he will be retried, right? Right now, what I'm going to read for you is I'm going to read through a 7-page motion that was filed, accusations that were made by the prosecution against YNW Melly's mother, Jamie King, as the prosecution, Alexandria Bukalu, is trying to get the judge to ban YNW Melly's mother from coming to the courthouse and being a part of this trial, as in being present to interact with the jurors, so on and so forth. Now, this is a 7-page motion. The prosecution is requesting that Judge Murphy grant the state the opportunity to question all pre-qualified jurors at a scheduled time in November based on concerning information that was received from a released juror who is also a Broward Sheriff Office employee. And that person had came back and told that Miss King, who is YNW Melly's mom, that she's hanging out in the area where jurors go by. But listen to what was said in this, right? So juror number 306 stated that she witnessed a black female wearing blue scrubs sitting in a courtroom with the deputies while the jurors were being questioned. She indicated when all of the jurors were leaving the witness, she witnessed that same woman standing by the entrance of the door that leads to the courthouse on the 3rd floor, where all the jurors walk in and out, as that is where the juror parking lot is located. So the concern here is that YNW Melly's mother is mixing with the jurors. That's crazy though, because she could influence some of those jurors to be sympathetic towards her. You know, we communicate as humans. 90% of our communication is done through facial expressions, eye contact, so on and so forth. Not so much words. So she can actually communicate sympathy and draw some sympathy from a couple of these jurors, which could eventually sway the outcome of the verdict eventually. So juror number 306 immediately recognized this woman as the same woman she observed that was sitting in the courtroom during jury selection, and her attention was drawn to her due to the fact that the female was observed to be obviously crying into a tissue as the jurors walked out. She's crying in front of them. Why is YNW Melly's mom even there while jurors are being selected? And why does she have access to being in an area where she can see them leave, get into their different vehicles, so on and so forth? Kind of makes you wonder, how the hell did they find a book at YNW Bortland's house that had a description of all the jurors from the trial before? Anyhow, juror number 306 indicated that the female was by herself and she appeared very upset, and she was wiping her tears with a tissue. Now, while the courthouse can be busy around standard, say, lunch hour of 12 to 1 p.m., panel number 4 was not released until approximately 1:30 p.m. The defendant's mother, Jamie King, was present for jury selection on October 24th, 2023. Miss King was the only civilian non-juror that was sitting in the audience during the jury selection, and she was wearing her blue scrubs. It was also very apparent that Miss King was in and out of the courtroom throughout the proceedings throughout the day. It should be noted that at no point did Miss King appear to be upset or in distress during the proceedings. On the contrary, though, she appeared in good spirit at all times. In fact, at one point, Miss King saw a co-worker of hers on the panel for jury duty, whom she discussed her son's case with. Her demeanor was giddy. She was happy when she witnessed that this juror walked in and that the state placed her behavior on the stage. Placed her on the record, rather. The state placed her on the record. So one of her co-workers was in there as a juror. YNW Melly's mama co-worker came in as a juror, and she got happy. When initially asked if anyone heard of the case or the defendant's stage name, this particular juror coyly, in a shy manner, stated he had heard of it. Yeah, I don't really know about it. I heard of it. Insinuating he did not know much about it, which is a lie, because you're the co-worker and a friend of the mom. So how could you not have heard about it? Come on now. But anyhow, it was only after being brought back in after a restroom break where Miss King could have been roaming the hallways with this juror that he eventually came forward. And indicated that he knew YNW Melly's mother, and he even elaborated on their relationship. The state also noted that Miss King left the courtroom prior to the juror's dismissal. During the afternoon session of jury selection on October 24th, 2023, she also walked in late while the jurors were all in the hallway waiting to enter. So she's out there while they're out there, and she is in the hallway with them while they're getting ready to go into the courtroom. These are all points that the state's trying to make, right? To get her to not be so close to the jury. That's common sense. The state is aware that Miss King is typically dropped off in front of the main entrance to the courthouse, which is nowhere near the juror parking garage. The state is also aware that during the prior trial, that individuals associated with the defendant loitered around the same area that Miss King positioned herself at while jurors were walking freely to their vehicles. It is apparent, the state is also aware that during the prior trial, that individuals that were associated to YNW Melly, they were loitering around in that same area where Miss King positioned herself while the jurors were walking freely to their vehicles. This is before the jurors are sequestered. Sequestering means they go on lockdown, but they only go on lockdown after all evidence has been given. Other than that, they basically come to court, listen, and go home, right? They report to jury duty on a daily basis. It is apparent that Miss King positioned herself in an area that is known for where these prospective jurors would be present. It is highly inappropriate for Miss King or any other party to place themselves in a position where their conduct could have an impact on the jury. Positioning yourself at the juror parking garage and crying is clearly an attempt to manipulate or influence potential jurors that are returning for attorney questioning. Furthermore, juror number 349 informed the state that while walking into the courtroom and while seated in the courtroom with her fellow jurors, that Miss King made it a point to try to make intense eye contact with her. Juror number 349 described this behavior as someone who clearly is trying to get her attention and speak with her eyes. Juror number 349 interpreted Miss King's behavior as a way for Miss King to try and approach the juror later, which was extremely uncomfortable. Juror number 349 indicated that Miss King was seated quiet close to her, and that this is why she could see her while seated in the courtroom for questioning. Miss King's behavior is nonverbal communication and is completely improper. This is a juror, and now this is the state putting all this into writing and presenting it to the judge, hoping that the judge sees their need to keep YNW Melly's mama at some kind of a restricted level concerning this case. We'll talk about the outcome of this motion, but for now, I want you to continue to listen to the information in the motion. Ms. King's behavior is nonverbal communication and is completely improper. This issue is what the state raised as a major concern at the beginning of this second trial, and that is why there are heightened security protocols in place. Now, despite these heightened security protocols, security concerns have now arisen regarding improper jury conduct and attempted jury tampering only 2 days into the trial. The state is asking the court to conduct an inquiry of all pre-qualified jurors. As the court and all parties are aware that Ms. King was also in the hallway during the first day of jury selection, it was previously placed on the record by defense counsel on October 24th, 2023 that Ms. King showed up one day of jury selection and was not permitted in the courtroom due to lack of seating. A trial court has discretion to determine what remedy is required when a comment is made to the juror outside the presence of the court. And they, see Hutchinson versus State 882, SOD, all that law jargon stuff. Right. And then number 19, same thing. The defendant's mother said, "God bless you," to 70 potential jurors assembled in the hallway, and the defendant moved to strike. The court ruled that trial court acted appropriately by questioning the jury panel to determine who had heard the comment from the mom telling the jurors, "God bless you." It's like positioning yourself to be able to talk to the jurors, say your little ones and twos here, meet them, greet them pleasantly, say good morning, make eye contact, evoke some kind of sympathy. "Oh, I'm a single mom. My son is facing the death penalty. He really didn't do it. He was getting set up. I am so distraught. I'm hurting. I'm a good mom. I raised my son right." You can convey all these things to the jurors with facial expression and body language. Sit there and cry. And just cry and cry and cry. This is all during jury selection. This is not even during the trial. So what the state's trying to do, prosecution is trying to get YNW Melly's mom removed from the jury selection process. So they're saying she should be able to come to court for the trial, yes, but remove her from the jury selection process. I'll skip over some of this and I'll get to about number 22. Should the court not issue such an order, the state requests at the very least that Ms. King be prevented from attending any further days of jury selection. Furthermore, should Ms. King feel the need to enter the courthouse or parking structure, the state requests that she be required to check in with the Broward Sheriff's Office first. Additionally, an admonishment from the court is requested as any further inappropriate conduct would also be considered contempt of court. Ms. King has already gone through the trial process once, and she's aware of the court's instructions regarding behavior around jurors, and yet she still found a need to stand in the exact area where jurors park and cry as they walked by. The appearance of impropriety alone requires a hearing, and due to her behavior, the requested sanction should be imposed. Number 24 says the court was also made aware that 6 individuals on behalf of YNW Melly, the defendant, will be appearing in court for jury selection. 6 individuals on behalf of the defendant will be appearing in court for jury selection on October 25th, 2023. The last row in the gallery has been reserved for them, and the state requested an empty buffer row between the defendant's family and friends and the potential jurors due to concerns that the state has expressed regarding the sanctity of the jury selection process. Due to additional members adding jury selection on behalf of the defendant, the state requests all parties be instructed as to appropriate behavior in and out of the courtroom. Furthermore, the state requests that all individuals entering the courthouse must check in with valid identification, and the state also requests that no individual be allowed to enter and exit the courtroom while the jurors are present. And once jurors are released, the state is also requesting that all parties in the courtroom should wait until the jurors have vacated the building first. Additionally, the state seeks to have any parties needing to use the restroom while the jurors are present in the hallway prohibiting from using the facilities on the fourth floor. In other words, the integrity of our judicial system has been compromised, and it is imperative that the court takes further measures to ensure the safety of the jurors as well as this case. And this is what they presented to the judge, asking that the judge please do something about this because, hey, YNW Melly's mama is out here mixing with the jury as we are trying to select jurors for this case. This is crazy. If you ask me, that should be common sense that she shouldn't be anywhere around, right? I didn't know that that's a part of how things are done. Like, she gets to be present in the room while the jurors are being selected. That's crazy. And then she gets to mix with them, as in when they're lined up outside in the hallway waiting to go into the courtroom. She can easily say, oh, I'm going to use the bathroom real quick. And she's out in the hallway with them. When they leave the courtroom after the day is done and they're going to the parking lot to go to their cars, she can leave a couple of minutes before they do and then place herself in the parking lot while they're heading to their vehicles. All that is crazy, and it should not be done. Now, here's what happened. She had a lot to say. So the juror claimed that Miss King was making intense eye contact with some of them, and she was crying and, trying to get some sympathy, seeming distressed and all that. Now, despite these highlighted security protocols, security concerns have arisen regarding improper jury contact and attempted jury tampering only days into this trial. But YNW Melly's mama told the Miami Herald that none of that happened. She said, I don't even know what they're talking about. I am completely bewildered by all these accusations. It's all frustrating. I've been in that courtroom for years now, 4 years. I know the rules. I've gone through this. Now, when prosecutors argued for the ban in front of Judge Murphy on Wednesday, YNW Melly's mom said she felt like she was being bullied, and she was so uncomfortable that she decided to leave jury selection early today. That was yesterday. Today is Thursday. She said the only chance she gets to see her son, who doesn't have access to phone calls or visitations, is during his court appearances, and she will continue to show up and support him. I understand that the state has a job to do, but to attack me, I'm at a loss for words. Now, here's what else is happening in this case. Now, while YNW Melly is currently in the early stages of the selection, the jury selection, Judge Murphy has yet to rule on dozens of pending motions. Now, people are saying, oh, the state keeps filing all these motions so they could keep on stalling the case. Most of these motions, of these dozens of motions, they've been filed by the defense, by YNW Melly's team. So they are the ones who are yelling, speedy trial, but they keep on filing all these motions that keep slowing the case down. So they're yelling speedy trial, but they're slowing the case down. The judge actually denied Melly's legal team's request to throw out the rapper's case. Remember, they filed a bunch of motions. One of the motions was to have the lead prosecutor removed from the case, which they won. They got it. She got removed. Then the next one was to have the lead detective, Moretti, removed from the case. They did not get that one. Then they had filed a motion to have the entire Broward office removed from the case. They did not win that one either. And then they also filed a motion to have the case thrown out completely and a motion to have the case barred from ever being tried again. Well, Murphy has denied Melly's legal team's request to throw out the case. That means finally we know this is going to court. It won't be thrown out according to an order that was provided to the Miami Herald on Wednesday. In his filing, the judge argued that the evidence the defense presented doesn't show that the top officials of the Broward State's Attorney's Office, including State Attorney Harold Pryor, engaged in any cover-up with former prosecutor Christine Bradley, who was ousted from the case in mid-October. So he's not throwing the case out. We're going to trial. Now, if you remember, in August, Melly's defense team had learned that Miramar Police Detective Mark Moretti was accused of allegedly using force to possible, against a witness in a case. And this stemmed from a complaint that was actually made by YNW Melly's mother in July. Now, the defense lawyers accused Bradley of a Brady violation because they said that she concealed certain things which they should have told them, because they could have used it in court to say, well, he is not a credible person, which would have helped their defense, right? Okay, the judge took some precautionary measures. The judge clearly said she did nothing wrong, but he's removing her from the case because she could possibly be called. And if there's any hint of a possibility that she could be called to the stand to testify by YNW Melly's lawyers, then she cannot be the lead prosecutor in this case, right? So she got removed, but I don't think this is what they wanted, because she got replaced by 3 more prosecutors that are seasoned and they are ready to go, right? So Murphy said now all full access to the Brady material can call Boutros. If you remember, Boutros came, said what she said, and that still was not enough. So basically, the judge is saying they didn't prove what they accused the state of doing. Therefore, the case still goes to court. But I want you to leave in the comment section and tell me, because the judge has denied this motion, the motion to have YNW Melly's mom not be around when jury selection is taking place, and for her to only show up at the trial, and for her to show up in a certain manner at the trial so she's not so close to the jurors, that was denied. So she will continue to be able to come to the courthouse on a daily basis as this jury selection process is going on, even after they wrote all that to the judge. What do you say? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Do you think that YNW Melly's mom, having such close proximity, access to these jurors or potential jurors, could definitely taint jury selection and possibly have a jury on there just like the last trial? And who's to say if that is not what happened at the last trial? Met her in the parking lot, met her in the hallway, made eye contact with her when she was in the courtroom being questioned, and softened her heart towards my side of the case. We'll keep on watching this, man, but that's what's up right now. Leave your comments, hit that subscribe button, click the bell next to the subscribe button so you are notified every time any update is uploaded on BrainFLoTv. I'm out. Peace.